Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today I have a highly requested video about the powerlifting commands for USAPL. And if you aren't familiar with powerlifting, hopefully you are if you watch my channel, but when you compete in powerlifting, there are rules to abide by and there are commands to abide by. So I'm going to kind of go over what they are, and I actually have little videos of each lift. So we have squat, bench, and deadlift that my coach is calling the commands for me. My coach Ryan Gleason is a certified USAPL judge, so these are the correct commands. These are what you should be practicing in your training if you have a meet coming up. And you know, it's not really anything to be nervous about if you practice them and train them occasionally. Especially in the last few weeks leading up to a meet, you're going to be totally fine. So if you just get your body used to doing these more often and not just going to a meet and walking in and saying, hey, I'm here, I don't know any of the rules, and I'm going to just go and do my thing, that's not going to fly. So just make sure you really know and practice these commands if you are interested in competing in the USAPL. So when you go to your meet, the first lift that you're going to be doing is the squat. And the squat commands they're simple, but I feel like a lot of people can forget the first and the last one. Well, the only two there are. So when you go to squat, you'll walk up, they'll call your name, you'll walk up to the bar. The bar will be loaded with your first attempt, and you will get under the bar, unrack it. You're not going to squat until you hear the first command, which is someone yelling squat, and it's going to be the judge that's sitting right in front of you. So if you've never been to a meet before, there's going to be 3 judges. There's going to be the head judge, who's going to be sitting literally right in front of you, like you can't miss him. And then there's 2 judges on either side to check depth and whatnot. The head judge is the one who's going to be calling all the commands. You will clearly see this person. They will be loud. They will usually lift their hand up and make motions with their hands too. So first command in the squat is to squat. This is after you've unracked it. You hear squat, you go down, you come up, and then you have to wait at the top until the judge says rack, and he'll usually go like this to rack it. So to recap the squat, there are 2 commands. The first one is after you walk out the bar, you squat down. Do not even think about taking a step forward until you hear that second command, which is to rack, and then you can rack it back in. And you'll have spotters that will help you walk it in usually.
And I'll be loud. Squat! Rack!
So pretty self-explanatory, but again, if you don't know this going into a meet, I've seen people come in and, just go unrack the bar, squat without getting the first command, or they'll go unrack the bar, squat, and then go to put it back without getting the rack command. So just make sure you wait, you're patient, and yeah, squat is pretty simple. So moving on to the second lift, which is bench. Bench has 3 commands. So bench is probably the most technical, in my opinion, as far as commands go, and can be the most, it's easier to forget a bench command if you don't practice it. So when you go up to bench, they'll call your name, you'll go out, you'll get set up under the bench. You can either have somebody lift it off to you, or you can unrack it yourself. They do allow the spotter to lift it off for you. So I recommend that. That's not something that I did in the beginning, just because when I first started, I was training by myself and I was used to unracking it myself. It really does help as long as you have a good person to do it. There was one meet that I did where the person spotting me was, a kid. He didn't really know what he was doing, and he kind of just dumped it on me, and I wobbled, and obviously that's going to throw you off a little bit, especially in a meet. This is probably a heavy weight, and it just mentally screwed me. So make sure the person knows how to do it the way that you want to do it, and you can tell them right before you go. So the first command for bench is after you unrack it, you're waiting for the head judge to give you the first one, and that is start or bench. You bring it down. Once the bar is at your chest, you're gonna wait and pause, hold it there until they say press. Do not press it before, or the lift is not gonna count. So that's why I have a lot of my clients practice pause bench, and that's why I practice pause bench in training, because if you don't practice pausing at your chest, you're not gonna do it in a meet. So that is the second command. Once you press it back up, you are gonna wait at the top again until the judge says rack, and then you can rack the weight. So there's 3 commands with bench, definitely the most technical, definitely the most to think about. So practice that one for sure.
And he won. He goes, I'm not thinking that.
Start. Press. Rack.
And then last but not least for deadlift, I think deadlift is the easiest one. There's only 1 command, and that sometimes can confuse a lot of people too. So they're gonna call your name, you're gonna walk out to the platform, your weight is loaded. You don't need to wait for them to tell you to start for deadlift, you just go. So for deadlift, don't wait for them to say start. I've seen a lot of people walk out there and just, be standing there and waiting, and people are like, go. So you pick up the bar. The only command is once you lock out, you wait for the head judge to put his arm down or say down, and then you can drop the weight back down. But don't just drop it. You have to lower the weight down, keeping it in your hands, and try not to slam it on the floor. It feels really weird.
Down.
Deadlift is definitely by far the easiest, but still, all of these lifts and commands are something that you should definitely be practicing weeks out in your training, if not all the time. So if you have somebody at your gym, or if you train with somebody, I would have that person, call the commands for you. If you don't, and if you train alone, which is what I did forever, I kind of just said them in my head, made sure I really paused for bench, and pause after I finished my squat and stood up. Just kind of pause for a second, don't rush it, and practicing them in your head is totally okay. But I would try to get somebody to call them for you at least a couple times before your meet. So hopefully this video helped you guys. I know that a lot of my clients requested it, and a lot of my clients are competing this year, which is exciting. So if you are competing in a powerlifting competition or meet this year, comment below and let me know when your meet is and what you're expecting to hit at your meet. But thank you guys for watching this video. I will catch you in the next one. Bye! Good job, pal. You didn't bite me that time.
Why didn't you bite her?